This is a quick video briefly summarizing the locomotives owned by the Shady Valley Railroad. Number 2, named A.J. Wright, after the railroad's batshit crazy founder, was the first 3-footer of the bunch. It started off performing all the work on the railroad as it was the only locomotive working on the railroad until they bought a Climax. Now, the number 2 either pulls the executive train, or is driven by A.J. Wright himself just for the fun of it. He was never much of a distinguished CEO and was hardly ever seen in his office, just running this little shit around half the time. Number 3, named Huckleberry after one of the ridges near the logging spurs, was purchased for yard work in Shady Valley, but was relegated to logging work as the roster expanded. Number 3 is smaller than you think. A pair of crewmen developed significant claustrophobia after using her for switching for a solid 4 years. Number 4, named Tiny Knob after another ridge, was purchased for the same work as Huckleberry number 3, but with the added interurban running in Damascus, Virginia, which necessitated the addition of wood boards on the side and extended cab roof for whatever reason. First, number 5 isn't modeled yet. Yeah, first, there's another 5. We'll get to that. Sadly. Mud Hens incoming, starting with number 10. Number 10 is named Winchester after a creek running near the line between Shady Valley and Damascus, and is the strongest of the ore brutes, as she's the only one of the trio still boasting Vulcan compound. Her slopebag tender reduced fuel quantity, and thus she's really only used as a helper on uphill ore drags, or as braking assistance on downhill ore drags. Number 11, named Winchester after another creek, there's a shitload of creeks running around this damn place, is the crew favorite of the Mud Hens, mostly owing to its headlight placement making it look more Shady Valley-esque. It also has the meanest sounding whistle, and the presence of conventional slide valve cylinders makes her the easiest to maintain out of the trio. Oh lord. 12, named Beaver Dam after, you guessed it, a fucking string of water. If you can't tell already, I tried to convey through the model that she's a piece of shit. In 1907, she got into a big fuck up with number 10 during a downhill ore drag. Due to rushed maintenance at the time, totally not because Wright almost went broke from buying these things, 12's dry pipe shattered, causing her to snap the coupling between her and 10, shooting down the hill and turning over on a curve outside Shady Valley. The repairs that followed made her the second most hated of the roster. You thought that would have made her the first most? No.
No, there is another.
But we'll get to that, sadly. And now we get to my personal favorite. Number 9, named Laurel Creek after... is the railroad's first completely home-built locomotive. Rare of its kind, this 462 handles the larger passenger duties the railroad offers for the residents from end to end. It is also notable for technically outrunning a mid-sized tornado in April 1912, which unintentionally proved her insane speed capabilities. It didn't gain much in the news because some boat hit some ice not long after.
It is unsinkable. God himself could not.
After this, it was decorated more because Wright thought that was just too darn cool to not recognize. So yeah, this is technically the world's first tornado intercept vehicle. No data was obtained though, just a lot of dents, stray debris, and broken glass. This locomotive is a fully freelance design and I'm happy with how it came out. Number 7, named Doe Valley after a small community just south of Shady Valley. She formerly belonged to the Twin Mountain at Potomac as their number 1. Interestingly, her sister number 2 ended up as East Tennessee and Western North Carolina's second number 8. Its jobs on the railroad vary depending on the day, so she's mostly an on-call locomotive that is used when needed, though she sometimes hauls number 12 back to the shop for the trillionth time. Number 6, named Damascus, is a Baldwin copy of the East Broad Tops number 14 and 15 purchased in November 1915. It handles the longer freights and was known to make many crews nervous due to its heavy weight. It can't run to Shady Valley due to this and is restricted only to the line running between Damascus and Mountain City. Oh boy, here we go. Remember when I said 12 was the second most hated? Well, here's her worthy successor, the second number 5, and good God, Wright hates even talking about it or acknowledging it.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Formerly DNRGW 485, it goes without saying this was short-lived. Basically, shit got desperate much later into their life, and Wright thought that buying something big, expensive, and modern would solve all of his problems. Instead, it taught him that's not how saving a financially decaying business works. Number 5 was so heavy that it collapsed through the tracks at Mountain City on several occasions, split switches, and took many hours to re-rail with the Shady Valley's outdated re-railing methods meant for much smaller locomotives. It was extremely overcomplicated to where none of the shop crews knew how to service it, and thus began to deteriorate quickly and perform even worse than it did when it arrived. Because of all this, the number 5 never even left Mountain City. It couldn't leave the yard without derailing on the way. It lasted a whopping 2 weeks before Wright threw it back back to the DNRGW having learned a valuable lesson. To not buy from the DNRGW. Number 5, now 485 again, would still end up swan diving into a pit and being scrapped. However, Shady Rally did reacquire 485's tender before they scrapped it, and is now used behind number 6 for higher fuel capacity for longer runs. And for now, that is the Shady Valley's roster. I hope you all enjoyed. Apologies if this seemed like a really rushed video. I am very tired, so I'm going to go fix that.